Hey guys, how's everything going? Hope this new year is going well for y'all. Starting off pretty good for me. So I kind of decided I was going to do a New Year's resolution, which I don't do New Year's resolutions just because there's no way you're going to hold on to them. But this one, on the other hand, I don't think I know this one. This one's going to happen. What I plan on doing this year is hiking the Santa Catalina Trail. I'm going to backpack for 3 days, probably be about a 5-day trip total. Getting time to get from here to there, over to the island, and then 3 days to hike it. I'm expecting 4 because not in the best shape of my life, but we'll be working on that between now and then. So that's a few months down the road. What I'm starting to do is to get some new equipment in. I have a 80-liter pack and a backpacking tent that I have coming in. I will do unboxing when those arrive, probably, I'm guessing, sometime next week. Pretty excited about that. And a couple months ago, because I knew I was going to start hiking or backpacking more this year, I started picking up some new knives that are going to be accompany me during my little excursions. So I am very particular about my blades. I want to make sure that they are multi-useful, more than capable of doing just one job. And the ones that I've chosen, I've got 3 off to the side here that I'm going to share with you guys. There's been plenty of reviews done on all these knives. So as far as taking them out and beating the crap out of them, that's unfortunately not what I'm doing. This is just a tabletop thing today. And, I'm not sponsored. Nobody's paying me for these, clearly. So getting a expensive blade, at least as far as my budgets are concerned, taking it out to the woods and then beating the living crap out of it to see how long it takes before it breaks or how much abuse it'll take, that's just not my thing. I've seen plenty of things done as far as these 3 blades, and they're really good blades, reputable manufacturers, and they're solid knives. I still am looking for a decent folder. I'm looking for the flip knife series of folders. Something I could just have in my pocket, just everyday kind of stuff, and then also with me while I go on these backpacking and hiking trips. So the first blade. Now, let me kind of preface this. So when I was younger, the First Blood movie came out. Excuse me. And once I saw that knife, it's like, I have to have that knife. I was young, just liked the idea of a large knife. And of course, that one looked like it was solid as a rock. And the one that was designed by Jimmy Lyle, who's the maker of the actual knife for the movie, his prototypes are actually really good knives, other than the part that I'm going to mention now, which is the hollow handle. Once I started learning more about knives, their uses, and what to expect, the hollow handle portion of it just wasn't a thing anymore for me. I love the blade shape, and I do have plans at some point, probably towards the latter part of this year, of actually making one that is a full tang version with some micarta handles. All completely handmade, hand ground, hand sharpened. Just something for me, something I could have that says, hey, check this out, the Rambo knife, only better. But, we'll see how that goes. I'm not the best metal worker, decent carpenter, but when you get to metal, a little bit different. But anyway, I'm going to give that a shot. Maybe I'll post that process. So movie knife wise, you flash forward quite a few years, a couple of decades, and the movie The Hunted comes out, and I absolutely fell in love with that knife. And at the time when I saw the knife, I started looking around. Nobody was making it. It was just a movie prop. And then a couple of years after that, at least I think it was a couple of years, this is a while ago, I found Tops made a version of that knife, the Tom Brown Tracker, which I actually purchased and had, and I loved it. It's a great knife. The perfect knife, one tool option, Maybe not. I mean, it does a lot of things really good, but it doesn't do any one specific thing great. So I would still have it. However, at the time, you know, wife's pregnant, kids are born. I get the triplets, and we needed money, so that was one of the things that was sold to help support that. So don't really regret it, but I really want to get that knife again. You know, hopefully I will one day, but budget just it's not in the cards. I've had a couple of knives back in the day that I wish I still had. One was the Gerber BMF, the straight blade, not the sawback. Absolutely loved that knife. It's solid chunk of steel. Wish I still had it, but that again was one of the things that were sold. That along with my Safekeeper 3 from Cold Steel. Another one that I absolutely loved. Wish I still had. Now it's everybody thinks they have gold when they have them, so it's like $300. It's just out of my price range. If I can find one at a decent deal, I'm definitely going to grab it the second I see it. But what I have is, I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I purchased an Esee 5. Esee obviously great reputation, solid knives, big chunks of steel. But the 5, I figured I chose the 5 over the 6. Figured that was going to be my blade. Turned out not to be so much. I just couldn't see hauling around that chunk of steel. And opportunity came up to trade it for something else with a buddy of mine, which I ended up doing. And now I found myself a few months ago going, man, I'm going to start doing this backpacking and this hiking. I really wish I had something along that quality. So I purchased 3 different knives, which I'm going to do a quick tabletop on. One is really it's a combat blade, not really my thing, which is kind of funny considering most of my collection right now is made up of K-bar fighting knives. I've even got a K-bar little necker, the K-bar combat kukri, which I absolutely love that blade also. Probably towards the middle of last year, I had somebody offer me the Big Brother. He had it when he said he had it when he was in Scouts. When I was in Scouts, you were able to have a folding knife, little like Victorinox, something like that. But this kid's apparently, carting around this Big Brother, which I did want the knife, so I figured, what the heck. He offered it to me for $40. I jumped on it. He kept telling me, "Oh, it's still sharp as heck, dude. I beat it up when I was in Scouts, man, but it's really sharp." And I'm like, "All right, cool." Gave him the money, got the knife, and that thing was about as sharp as a butter knife. So I spent a few hours with my Lansky sharpening system. Get out of here, Rolla. My Lansky sharpening system sharpened the blade up, and it got it to shaving sharp. But again, not necessarily something I'd really consider myself carting around all the time. So I chose the 3 that I have here. And going along with the movie knife genre, which isn't really a movie, but it's a popular blade that was seen on TV. This is the Matt Graham Primitive Bush Knife, which when I first saw it, the thing that took me to it was the sheath. The sheath is, slip it in the belt, no belt loops, it sits nice and tight. You can cruise around with it, doesn't go anywhere, and just a real interesting blade. So I chose the 1075 carbon steel model as opposed to the 420HC. Don't really have a good reason why. I just figured I wanted the carbon steel version better. I mainly like these micarta handles as opposed to the wood handles. Now the other one, the 420HC, is a very classic looking knife. This is just kind of like an upgrade type of thing to it. And like I mentioned before, I'm not going to take these things out and then beat the heck out of them. I've seen what they can do as far as other reviewers. A lot of the guys that I watch reviewing these knives do really good jobs, so I'm not really too worried about trusting these. The one thing that I have to say that I don't care about this is this portion right here, which is the whole signature. That is, big as life, right there in your face. If they put it like somewhere up here closer, to the handle, I'd been okay with that. Not that I hate it, and I respect this guy. He's just his skill set is second to none. I just wish that wasn't there. Maybe I'll do something about that later. I don't know, but towards I think it was the first week of December, I got a text from my wife saying, "Oh, I want a fire in the fireplace," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I've got wood, but it's not processed." And I'm like, "Well, hey, I actually have a knife. Maybe I'll go out and baton with it." So my son and I go out in my backyard where I had some wood that I cut from our tree in our front yard, and we started batoning. And this thing, it had, like, the first few minutes I was a little nervous because I could hear this thing go, and this was some knotty wood too. I mean, there was knots all through this stuff. And I would get to a certain point where I'm batoning, right here up on this portion. And this portion, the knife's wanting to twist and move around the knots, and then I could hear a crack. Heart stopped. I'm like, I'm going to be more than upset if I pull this out and my blade's freaking cracked. That happened a couple of times. There's absolutely no crack on the blade. As far as the straightness, it's stayed straight. I mean, I don't see any major whoops in it, bends, anything like that. It managed pretty well. So I let my son have a crack at it. And he got through the first couple pieces of wood really good, and I turned my back. When I turned back around, he had the knife like this, batoning through the wood. And again, almost lost my friggin' mind. But I'm like, "Hey, stop. Look what you're doing." He's like, oh, sorry, and flips it over and continues to go. The funny thing is, when we were all said and done right after that, I checked the sharpness on this. There was no rolled edge. There was nothing as far as bending, no cracking, and the sharpness is still as sharp as when I got it out of the box. So I'm impressed with this particular knife. Is this the one that I'll be taking with me on the Santa Catalina Trail? Not likely. This would be more like my day hike, overnight hike, the training hikes that I'm going to do leading up, because I hear that the Santa Catalina is a lot of incline, which I'm not ready for if I was to do it tomorrow. So this will probably be carting with me, during those hikes. You can just slip it in my belt, move along, take it out if it's in the way, throw it in my pack, whatever the case is, and go from there. So that's one. The second one was one that I didn't particularly think that I was going to end up getting. Not that it's a bad blade, the design's really nice, but it's a fighting knife. It was designed that way by somebody who's got the experience, and I ended up getting it anyway, because I got to be honest, the blade is just a wicked blade. So what I have here is this CRKT Clever Girl. The creator is Austin McLaughlin. If I'm pronouncing that, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's just a wicked blade. I was worried about the handle being able to fit my hand. I have large hands, but there is more than enough real estate for me to be able to get onto this knife and use it comfortably. I believe it probably G10 scales, very aggressive, but they don't hurt the hand. They just give you a really good purchase on it, so you're going to keep it in your hand as you use it. This is one that I'm planning on taking with me just as a backup, if you will, mainly because I see the main purpose for this one is if it came down to processing game, fish, large size animals. Sorry about the dog there. This is more than capable of doing it. And if it became to a self-defense type thing, this would be the one that I use. Not that my main knife can't do it. It's just, again, this is one of the things that this knife, I believe, would do really well at. So basically, Kydex sheath fits really nice in there. You can hear it pop in. Good solid purchase, not shaking out as far as I can tell. And I have it set up with this new Tech Lock type lock, which this lock is great. Just push the button, pops right open, slide it on your belt or off your belt, whichever the case is, close it, slide it over there, and it's locked. It's not coming open again. Not until you're ready for it. And I have it sitting scout style on the small of my back. The handle's a little bit up. Now the handle is relatively heavy, so I'm gonna have to see how that's gonna work. If that doesn't work, I'll find another spot on my belt to lash this thing on. So this is definitely one of the ones that is going to be accompanying me to Santa Catalina. Yeah, very, very, very sexy blade right there. Now the main one, and this is the one that's going to be with me on every trek I take. It doesn't matter day, overnight, multiple night. This is the one that will always be on my side. And everybody knows this one. This is the SE6. I got to missing the SE5 quite a bit. I mean, the handle, the fit, the finish, it was just a very excellent blade. Well made, solid. But when I got this one in my hand, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually glad that I swapped the 5 out, because this is the one that I really should have had. 1095 carbon, so I know there's going to be some issues with maintenance. But typically I will use a food grade mineral oil, because I don't know what I'll be using this for. It could be used for processing game as well. I don't think it'll do as well as the Clever Girl would, which is the reason why I would have it with me as a backup. But I mean, this can do everything that one can do and more, obviously. But just a very, very solid blade. I'm actually really, really happy with this one. The only thing that I really don't care for, and this is nothing against the designers, nothing against anything, it's just my personal preference. This lock, I didn't care for this on the SE5 either. Just the way, the spring clip is solid, and if you get this up there, it's just, to me, it's kind of in the way. You kind of have to push this around to get some grip on it to be able to pop that blade out. I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade the plastic sheath and upgrade it to the Kydex, which they have a Kydex version out for it. But the suspension system, I'm going to put a Molly back on this. And my decision to do that is for a couple of reasons. It gets me out of this clip, which again, it's not a bad thing, it's just not what I really want. You have the flap that will come over. Once I get it, I'll unbox it, attach it, and I'll post that video. But it has a flap that comes over, which is made for, I guess, jumping and stuff. But when I take this thing, my pack out, throw it on a kayak or whatever, I kind of want everything to stay there in the event that it should roll over. So the flap would be over it. It's just again, my personal preference is what I like. The pouch. I had the pouch on the 5, but it was the standard size. This one is the large pouch. I'm not sure if you could really make out that it's that much larger. It came with the empty SE tin for your survival kit, whatever the case is. I decided to purchase the SE mini kit throw in here, which I did, which is right here. I have not opened this since I got it. It still has the little seal you can see right there. Haven't opened it. I will, just because you should always open your stuff and check it out before you take it out. But what I found with this larger sheath is you can actually fit 2 of those tins, one on top of the other, inside here. Holds it really well, no rattling around, no moving around, and still have enough room to maybe throw your ferro rod in here, which was part of what I was hoping with this. I could probably take a good 4-inch, I don't know, 4 inches long, maybe half-inch wide, half-inch diameter ferro rod, larger rod, but again, big hands, little things, don't really work that well. So that's my idea for that. And like I said, no matter where I go, this one is going with me. It's just you have to have it. It just needs to be on the side of your hip as you're hiking. So between now and whenever this backpacking trip takes place, again, it'll be with one of my boys for sure. Hopefully my other one will decide to go too, but Xbox always takes precedence, right? we're going to be doing a lot of tune-up hiking and a couple of overnighters. Planning on going out to possibly Tahoe National Forest and do a couple overnighters, maybe a couple nighters out there. Doing a lot of inclines because I hear the Santa Catalina has a lot of steep inclines, and inclines are not my thing, but I do love backpacking. I haven't really done it since I was a kid, and I really regret wasting all these years and not being out there and doing it. So getting up there kind of in years, I want to start getting some miles in before I can no longer do the miles. So that was kind of like my reasoning behind, the Santa Catalina. It's close. It's, beautiful trail from what I see. So that was kind of my plan. Now, as far as packs, like I said, I've got some packs coming in. I have a few Kelties. I've got a couple of the Red Wing 50s, one in like a subdued green, the other's in a black. I've got a Keltie 32, and what I'm going to be getting in is the Keltie Coyote 80, which is going to be my multiple day pack. That one should be here in a week. I will do an unboxing when that gets here. And my tent, which is the MSR Elixir 2 backpacking tent, should be coming on the same time, so I'll be checking that out also. But that's what we got so far. Thank you guys for checking this out, and stay tuned for some more videos coming, because this is going to be the year where I start posting a few. So hopefully you check them out, enjoy what you see. If you like what you see, let me know. If you have any suggestions, throw it down there in the comment box. And hopefully you can check out the Santa Catalina Trail video when it comes out. So till then, take care. Have a good one.